Hey YouTube, how's it going? Ed here, and this video is going to be all about the best methods of fragrance application. Now, clearly applying fragrance to one's body isn't rocket science, but having said that, it is something very important and something that everyone should know. If you want to experience the full range of notes of your fragrance, if you want to get as much out of the life of the fragrance as possible, if you want to smell it on yourself for most of the day, if you want others around you to be able to smell you, and if you wish to garner compliments, then proper fragrance application is essential. Okay, the very first thing to remember is that fragrance does best on clean, moist skin. So before you apply to your body, have a shower, a wash, a bath, whatever it is that you choose, and whilst doing so, make sure that the products you use, be it a soap, a gel, a body wash, or even a shampoo, are as scent neutral as possible. Our primary focus is on the purity of the smell of the fragrance that you're going to apply to your body, and we don't want residual smells of anything interfering with that. Okay, now our skin's all nice and clean and fresh and free of any sweat or dead skin cells or bacteria, essentially making our skin a blank canvas. It's time to prime your body. Make sure you moisturize and that you use a deodorant. Obviously, make sure that both of these are as scent neutral as possible. Okay, so having done that, we're now ready to apply. And the first and best place to apply fragrance to is the chest. Personally, I favour the upper chest. The reason being that your core and, more importantly, your chest are some of the warmest parts of your body and produce the right amount of heat for proper fragrance development throughout the day. Also, your chest is located far enough away from your nose so your nose will not become fatigued and you'll be able to smell the fragrance on you for as long as possible. The thing is, if you apply fragrance too close to your nose, at say your jawline for example, your brain's not going to register it for a continuous amount of time. It will only stimulate the smell receptors that you have for a limited amount of time. After that, your nose will become fatigued, you'll notice it a lot less, and that will totally ruin your enjoyment of the fragrance. The chest is a wonderful place to apply fragrance to, and as soon as you're out the shower and you've dried down and you've deodorized and moisturized, the chest is the first place that you should hit. Okay, the next places to apply are to the very base of the neck, to the back of the neck, and if you're the sort of person that feels the need to spray your arms, then the top of the forearms are another good place to apply. Now, after you've applied fragrance to your body, give it anywhere from between 20 seconds and a minute so your skin can absorb as much as possible. This will minimise the amount of fragrance that you will inevitably end up getting on your clothes. I've always been of the opinion that fragrance should be one of the first things that you apply in the morning and the last thing that you take off at night. And now that that's all done, you can put on your clothes and head on with your day. Okay, now that I've spoken about the best places to apply fragrance to, I'm going to quickly talk about a few places that I would advise against. First of all, don't spray on your clothes. You run the risk of staining them, and if you do spray on your clothes, you will only end up smelling predominantly the top notes. Also, given enough time on a piece of fabric, your fragrance will eventually go off. It'll go a little sour, if that makes any sense. Also, say if you spray fragrance onto a jacket, then a few days down the line you go to put on the same jacket, but you're wearing a different fragrance. You're just going to end up with a clash of smells, and that's not going to be a good thing. Next up, don't just spray a fine mist into the air and walk through it, whether you're clothed or unclothed. You're not going to get an even application, you're not going to get a proper application, and basically you're just going to end up with a very expensive room spray. Another place that I would advise applying against, and this is contrary to popular opinion, is behind your ears. Back there you have oil producing glands that produce a fatty oil called sebum. Now, sebum in itself is essentially odorless, but it's the bacterial disintegration which creates a horrible smell, and applying any kind of a perfume back there will change the skin chemistry and produce an odour even worse than the original one, which is totally counterproductive to the whole idea of applying fragrance. When you were little, did you ever hear your mum telling you that you should remember to wash behind your ears? Well, there was a very good reason for that. Another place I wouldn't recommend applying to are the pulse points on your wrist. Application to pulse points in general, with the exception of your core, chest and neck, is very much overrated. A pulse point is basically anywhere that an artery crosses a bone and is close to the skin's surface, allowing you to take a person's pulse. Sure, this also means that blood flow will be close to the skin, and blood being warm means that these areas will be a little warmer. However, they still don't produce the same temperature as your core, your chest and the base of your neck. Also, washing your hands throughout the day, the wearing of a watch or some kind of a band or a piece of jewellery there will remove the fragrance that you apply there. In my experience, application to pulse points on the wrist does virtually nothing to extend the life of a fragrance. Finally, I would advise against spraying your hair. The reason being is that pretty much everyone nowadays uses some kind of product in their hair, and application there will you'll end up running the risk of having a clash of smells. Okay, to sum things up, fragrance does best on clean, moist skin. Hit the chest, base of the neck, back of the neck and top of the forearm. Give your skin enough time to absorb the fragrance before putting on your clothes. As for how many sprays a person should use, that is entirely up to you. Everyone has a slightly different skin chemistry. Everyone wants something a little bit different out of the performance of their fragrance, so I can't answer that. Anyway, that was my little take on the best places to apply fragrance. I hope it's been useful. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I shall speak to you all soon. Cheers for watching, guys, and take care.